man.
Oh, it's all good. You're just depriving the people of the good fodder already. We are live on the Believe in Monsters podcast. Another week to
The
talk
good
about
fodder.
our Chicago Bears. Follow us on the Twitter machine at BIM_pod. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. We're proudly presented by the Believe Network, and we thank the Believe Network for putting us on each and every week. Our man Chris Krogman's back from Mount Everest. We want to congratulate he and his family for completing the climb to Mount Everest, and so they're back. He's back safe and sound to talk about our Chicago Bears. We're talking Luke Berry, and unfortunately, we're talking about a loss. The Bears lost the Cowboys, but they're talking about a lot more than
A
just
positive loss.
Best loss I've ever been a part of.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we're
know.
going to talk about a lot more than just the loss. Chris, how was Mount Everest?
I've never been so happy about damn near giving up a 50 burger. But
That was bad.
what's interesting, Joe, is I sometimes have trouble falling asleep. So I have an app called Calm. Not sure if anybody knows what Calm is,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they have sleep stories on there, and I listened to a hiking Mount Everest story last night. It sounded brisk and cold. What I didn't know, what I learned about that podcast, is that there's a town right on the at 11,000 feet up, right at the base essentially of Everest in the Himalayas, that has 1,000 people, coffee shops and all kinds of shit. No, I had no idea. I'm not. Nobody told me these things. I don't look them up. But anyway, yeah, my time away was fine. It was good. Excited to talk about this team, where they're headed. Cowboys game was an unfortunate just train wreck for the defense, but a lot of fun for the offense.
Defense sucks.
Our defense sucks, man. There's I don't realize how little talent is in that front seven.
Ugh, they're bad.
It's not good. Not good at all. I thought Travis Gibson and Dominic Robinson getting more snaps was going to be a good thing. They're not that good yet. They're okay, but they're not elite by any stretch, or maybe even elite prospects. But who cares? Justin Fields is an absolute stud. Yeah, Lucas, how are you this evening, friend?
I am fantastic. I think before we started recording, I said, some of the most happy I've been after a loss. I think I said that earlier this year too. We're seeing a lot of signs of positive development. We had an interesting day today. Otherwise, I'm doing great outside of the Bears. Yeah, I'm ready to rumble. Back to the Mount Everest thing real quick. I just watched something about this guy that was free climbing up these icy rocks with a pickaxe and no harness. He would just climb up the vertical faces of rocks that were frozen over. Reminded me of Mount Everest.
Chris, how was it, man? Pretty cold.
He told you it was cold, and he went to the city at the bottom.
It was brisk. I had a coffee.
And
It was
coffee
fine.
at the city at the bottom. Unbelievable.
Uh,
Is that where you watched the Bears game this past week? In a little tavern in the city at the bottom of Mount Everest?
yeah,
Did they have the Sunday ticket?
I had to pay big though. I had to get NFL Plus on their 3G Wi-Fi. It was very choppy, very very choppy.
Chris was watching the 1 p.m. games at Monday in the middle of the night.
Choppy like the Bears defense. Goodness gracious! How many yards did they actually give up? It was.
It doesn't matter. I don't even care about the defense. I don't care.
442 total yards they gave up.
The worst. Vildor had an absolutely terrible game.
He had a bad day.
He just got picked on bad. Jalen didn't get thrown at hardly at all. Brisker had some nice plays, but he's not fantastic in coverage. Eddie obviously had his signature takeaway, which was man, this is the second week where I thought they were going to score a touchdown on that right off that pick. It would have been the second week in a row where they went into the locker room with the touchdown and out with the touchdown. No, because I guess they didn't come out. They went 3 and out. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, one of my favorite things about this game was that they opened with a bomb to ESB. It was a little short, and ESB could have easily jumped back into the defender and gotten that call with his big ass body, but he didn't do it. But that was one of my favorite things, that they opened up the game going deep. Because we've talked about having to kind of go off script with their run and play calls, and I think like I started saying before we jumped on, anybody bad mouthing Luke Getsy is not paying attention, because they are doing so much with so little right now. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, so Dallas's defense had to have been top 5 going into that game, right? And the Bears put up the most points anyone scored on them all year. I mean, very impressive. I mean, just super impressive. They rushed with 200 yards again. I mean, that's what, 3 games in a row. This is insane. I mean, they are looking like, so this has been a debate on Twitter, and people are like, oh, would you rather the Bears become, the Ravens offense or the Eagles offense? And quite simply for me, it's just keep doing whatever's working. I mean, we don't need to have Justin Fields as a drop back passer right now for this offense to be good. I mean, if they're scoring 30 points a week running the Ravens offense and running for 200 yards a game, fuck it. Sign me up.
Well, plus it makes that drop back offense so much more dangerous, because you can't ever trust what you're seeing, because you never know when he's just going to take off. You can't play man against him without a spy, and that safety got that tackle on Fields when they did that design run on that. I was like fucking second quarter or something like that, late in the second quarter, where that other Dallas safety played really well. But yeah, he's just dangerous, super dangerous. And that holding call on Komet where Fields went for like 30 yards was fucking joke. Complete joke.
Your boy Komet got in the end zone finally, Chris. Celebrate your Golden Domer finally scoring. Got a long way to go for like 606 touchdowns, but
come on,
why does he need 606 touchdowns?
Because we said that was our prediction for him, but Joe knows damn well they have to keep him in as a blocker, and he's just being a dick right now. Cole Kmet is one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. I don't want to hear it.
600 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yes,
I thought you were saying 606 like career touchdowns or something.
No.
All right. I forgot how many yards and touchdowns does OJ Howard have this year?
Like 1 touchdown and like 5.
I think he scored 2 in that first game and hasn't seen the ball since.
Yeah, he did. He did score 2 in that game.
No, but celebrate your man, Chris, getting in the end zone. That's more the point.
No, that was a beautiful pass, and that was the right guy running that route. Ryan Griffin should never run those routes.
Yes.
So that was big. I mean, man, Fields is hitting dimes. That pass to Vilas that he dropped was an absolute dime. The play, was it? He threw the pick, but got PI'd, and then threw like a 36-yard completion to Mooney. I mean, he's just hitting plays. 2 plays that I think were fantastic were free rusher off the edge, and Fields checks it down to the crosser right in front of him and picks up positive yards both times. Once to Mooney and once to, I want to say Komet, but it could have been Griffin or Wesco, whatever that other tight end's name is, but I don't remember.
Really impressive game by Fields overall. I think Herbert, once again, looked like the better rusher out of the 2. I mean, the Bears, that might be – that last draft class might be Ryan Pace's parting gift to the Bears. I mean, if Herbert becomes their RB1 eventually and Fields pans out, it's looking like a really good class. But, yeah, it looked like he outclassed Montgomery again.
He just fits the system better. Like, here's where I think the difference is. You had that 4th and 1 that Montgomery picked up. I don't know if Herbert picks that up.
Yeah, he's not necessarily a tough runner like Montgomery.
He's smarter, potentially has better vision and can use his explosiveness a little bit better. But Montgomery is gritty, or Armstrong maybe if Colin Cowherd is driving the bus. I don't know
Was
what
that
that guy's.
serious? I thought that was a joke.
I don't know, man. That was hilarious though. Anyway,
He said it like 4 times.
yeah,
He's
or
like
more.
they got Mooney, Herbert, Armstrong. he kept saying it.
Armstrong is young, Mooney is young, Fields is young. You know, if Fields can just get Armstrong involved more, like, man, is Neil Armstrong coming back to this team? Or
Oh my God.
That's Neil Anderson. Anyway, so yeah, phenomenal game by Fields, and I think Herbert fits the system better. Like I said with the stretch, as I was thinking, like Montgomery would do better if he got more of those zone stretch plays, but he doesn't run that play well. He just doesn't, and it's not he's better between the tackles. He's better with that, like the toss play. Like if you get him outside really quick, and he's a way better in space player, I think, than Herbert is.
I don't know how, but Herbert is somehow the one that breaks all the big runs, dude. I don't know. He just finds the open running lanes. I just think maybe he's more decisive than Monty. I don't know, but I feel
I
like
think he just runs the zone read better, or the zone, and then cuts it back better. I like most of his long runs come off.
He does
of that.
cut it back.
He cuts it back against that, where it's everybody's blocking downhill, and then he just comes off the backside. Like his touchdown run, everybody was blocking left, and he went left at first, and then cut right off of Reef's ass, and he was up the middle and gone.
Well, and that comes from going back to what you're saying, Chris, being in the system. That comes from being used to running plays like that over time, and being used to seeing being comfortable with what that looks like against those defenses. But he's been incredible. I was really almost kind of hoping that David Montgomery would have been traded today at today's deadline because of the production that Herbert has had. It'll be interesting if they even try to re-sign him. I'm sure that at this point they're probably just let him walk, play the last 8-9 games and let him walk.
Here's the thing about Herbert. Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say Herbert truly is, a one-dimensional back. Like if you look at the Bears' overall passing numbers when he's on the field, it's significantly worse than when Monty's on the field. So whether that's just receiving or whether that's pass blocking, I think Khalil Herbert is statistically the Bears pass game is significantly worse when he's on the field. So if that is a scenario where the Bears let Monty walk, whatever, they definitely do need to bring in more of a third down back and a pass blocking back who can pick up those duties. I mean, it's not hard to replace those type of guys, but it's just something that would need to be considered.
I mean, I wonder what his value is to another team that runs a system like more of a power system, where I think Montgomery probably fits in better, or an inside zone similar to what they were trying to run last year with him. Having that threat of both and both types of backs is not a bad thing for sure for any team, but at what cost, I suppose, is what it comes down to.
Yep. How much is Monty gonna want?
I mean, does his value diminish more? Like what's RB1 get paid versus, because if RB1 is Herbert, that is a better runner. I mean, is it a 1A 1B situation? And how much would you pay? I mean, the rumor was what, 10 million from last offseason.
$10 million.
I don't go that high. I'd go like, I said 7.5, but I might be down to 6.5.
I mean, this is looking ahead a little bit, but this year's running back free agent class is absolutely loaded. So the Bears will definitely have their pick of the litter if they decide to go that route. I mean, I personally would not like to pay a running back big money, but you got guys like Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, all going to be free agents this year. So if the Bears did want to upgrade at running back in free agency, they could definitely do it. Saquon would be so fun in this offense. I mean, it most likely doesn't happen, but
Kareem Hunt isn't a bad ad.
Kareem Hunt would be great. And I just don't like him the person, but yes, he would be
No,
a very
neither
good ad
do
as
I.
a football player.
Penny
Jacobs, I mean.
Penny or Jacobs would be fantastic in this offense too. I mean, Penny's been hurt, so he'd be a low grade ad. Fucking Mostert would be a great pickup as well, man. He knows this offense.
I think Lucas Berry would be great in this offense.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Lucas 40 Berry, Mike Allstott himself. I would take him.
I've heard he'd be pretty explosive.
I've heard he's got explosive diarrhea.
Ooh. That's not the kind of explosion you want.
Whoa.
Yeah, not on game day, folks. Not on game day. Larry Borum had explosive diarrhea.
Well, all right, so that's a great talking point. I mean, how do we feel about this line that the Bears trotted out this week? I thought they were not bad versus Dallas's really good defensive line.
Would they give up like four
sacks?
4
Yeah.
sacks? That seems to be the average.
I mean, just watching the game, though, it didn't seem like Fields was under constant pressure.
No, the worst hit he took was on that 2-point conversion that he got absolutely.
That was horrible. I don't know what the fuck happened.
I think that was one where you either Reese completely fucked that play up, or Fields was supposed to get rid of it faster than he could get hit. Like just supposed to throw it immediately fast, and he didn't.
That was bad. Yeah, he got blasted on that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think you're right, Lucas. I don't think he's. I thought they looked okay. I think Jenkins is still your best lineman. There was a run that Montgomery had where he was close to getting the first down, and offensive line pushed him over the first down marker, but it was mainly Jenkins pushing him over, and Schofield jumped in, but not until after Jenkins was already on it. I don't know.
What do you think, Joe?
I was happy with the offensive line. Really, I felt like the offense as a whole is starting to continuously tick up and tick up and tick up. And it's been impressive to me to see so many different offensive combinations. I mean, obviously, you've had certain pass rushers really give them a hard time, namely Montez Sweat came to my mind. But we've had different pass rushers give them a hard time. But I think as a whole, and the offensive line's included in it, the offense has continuously performed a little better, and executed at a little higher level each week. So it's been fun to watch.
And even though, just thinking about that Washington game when you mentioned Montez Sweat, even though the Bears lost, it seems like if Fields is any kind of indicator on, the team's kind of feelings, he kind of said we're in, I kind of got like a positive vibe from him after the game, even though they lost. It wasn't like after that Washington game, he was completely dejected and you're like, wow, this guy's really fucking pissed and fed up. After this game, he was kind of more upbeat. Like, yeah, the offense is improving. We're getting better each week. It was good to hear and see the Bears be able to put up points and him not want to kill his offensive line on the, in his interview.
Well, I think we've reached a point in the season where the offense is way ahead of the defense, and so going back to Luke, something we've talked about throughout the offseason and the start of the year. When the Bears are drafting high this coming up year, are we more and more in agreement that defensive line is going to probably be the pick?
I think it really depends on what they do in free agency. I mean, if they sign like a Jack Conklin or a Elton Jenkins or Orlando Brown, I think Will Anderson is definitely on the table. Your boy from Georgia is on the table. But, I mean, outside of an elite defensive lineman, I'm a dumbass and pitch the trade back scenario every year, but like if Will Anderson is the Lawrence Taylor once in a lifetime kind of talent you think he is, Joe, then I'm all on board with that.
Von Miller. That's who he reminds me of. Von Miller.
Von Miller's Probably a Hall of
I-
Famer when it's said and done.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
No, for sure. But Lawrence Taylor's the Jesus. Him and Derek Thomas are my favorite pass rushers ever.
Derek Thomas is a good one. More underrated. I feel like not as many people talk about him, but he's awesome.
Man, 7 sacks in a game. You can't. I mean, geez, Louise.
Luke once had 8.
I don't know.
Luke 8. What did you? Would you have to eat, Luke?
Sacks.
Oh, ball sacks. Ball sacks. Listen, go ahead, Lucas. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting.
No.
I'm in a good mood, boys. I rewatched the game this morning, and it was fun.
I think that was an abnormal showing from the defense. I've said all year, I think they're an underrated group. I think they're better than the stats indicate.
I also think Dallas is a very good team.
Well, yeah,
dude, they needed that fucking win bad. I mean,
like Dak's a good press. Dak's a good quarterback. Fucking Pollard looked electric.
They are a good team. It just seems like the defense in a handful of spots this year when they've been called upon has really failed badly.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if anything, maybe I'm a little disappointed in Eberflus on not having them more prepared for that. But, I mean, overall, it is what it is. Like I said, it's time for the Bears to catch up to the league and start scoring points, which we're seeing. So, overall, I'm happy with it. And I think that the Bears do have enough building blocks in place on defense where I know that is a unit where I'll say, yes, they're probably a few positions away from being a decent to solid unit. I know we always talk about a few pieces away, but I really like their secondary. I think Jalen Johnson is great. I think he's awesome. Eddie Jackson's playing at an all-pro level this year. Brisker is an absolute tackling machine. Is Brisker like a poor man's Amos? I mean, a poor man's
You called it.
Yeah, maybe a poor man's. I wouldn't say a poor man's Amos because I feel like Amos was kind of the same way early in his career. I was gonna say, is he like a poor man's Jamal Adams? Like he's all over. He's great as a blitzer. Maybe not awesome in coverage, but
I think Honey Badger is your poor man's Jamal Adams.
Maybe. I don't know. I love Brisker though. He's a baller.
I agree. He did have a pretty bad miss on that CeeDee Lamb touchdown, but he's young. He'll learn.
I think most of his issues are him being out of position as opposed to like actually getting beat or whatever. So that stuff to me is all fixable. I think the football instincts with him are great. My overall point is the Bears secondary is solid. I mean, I think that's the hardest part to get right in a defense. And I think their defensive line and linebackers just suck. And we've known that. They don't get any pressure. It's like anytime the Bears have done anything well on defense, they get coverage sacks all game. It's just insane to have asked out of your DBs to do that every game.
Well, I think that's the thing too, is like once they have some pass rush, they'll be able to either one, take more risks on defense, and not have to like just play to not get their ass burnt. Because I think you see Vildor playing off a lot. He's way off the receiver when he's getting beat on those slants all day long. He's given 15 yards because he doesn't want to get smoked because he knows his fucking pass rush doesn't stand a chance up front. So once that pass rush can get home, he can play a little bit tighter. And I'm not saying he's an all-pro or anything like that, but I think it matters.
Definitely. I mean, I think, Joe, how do you feel? I know you were a little disappointed in the defense this week, but do you kind of agree that in the grand scheme of things, you'd rather have the offense play like this and the defense get their ass kicked just knowing that they don't have the manpower up front, literally in the D-line and linebackers?
I'm not that upset with where they are. I'm in agreement with you, Luke, about the secondary, and really when you look at the analytics, you'd rather have a souped up secondary than a pass rush, but you got to have a little bit of a pass rush, and you got to be able to stop the run a little bit. And Tony Pollard ran all over us in this past game, and it's been a theme this year. The Bears really allowing teams to run all over us. And
besides last week,
what's that?
They had to figure it out versus New England, and that was about the only game.
Right. Most of the time this year, they've allowed teams to run all over them. But that's what makes me think that when we get to the draft this coming up the year, whether we're picking pick 6 or 8 or 10, somewhere in that range, we're probably going to take a defensive lineman or somebody that can help the front seven change that side of change that side of the defense. But I'm with you. I would rather have the offense running because you're right now the whole season is about evaluating Justin Fields, and that's why everybody's come away with this loss feeling all hunky dory because you scored 29 points and Fields ended up throwing for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns and running for another 60 yards and a touchdown. So you got some warm feelings about the offense, and that's keeping everybody a little bit more upbeat than probably we should be.
Yeah, I think people realize the Bears aren't a good team, so it is what it is. It's
we're not a good team. What?
they're a feisty team, man. I'll give them that. Feisty as hell.
That's the truth. Scrappy bunch.
I've seen them like Chris, you kind of gave Getsy his flowers earlier, but we're seeing stuff we've never seen from the Bears too much. I mean, when they got the turnover, them going for the end zone 3 times in a row was good to see instead of just fucking kicking the field goal and trotting to half. I mean, one of those plays, I definitely think the receivers could have made some better plays on those plays that Fields put up in the end zone. I think they should have scored on one of them.
Pettis' route was terrible.
Yeah, that was like, what are you doing? And then even then, he still almost had it. The defender had to make a great play.
And then freaking ESB, man, like Claypool makes that play. I know we haven't talked about that yet, but Claypool makes that play. I mean, ESB had his hands on it. It's unfortunate.
Well, it's probably a perfect time to talk about it now that we all kind of know the Bears lost the Cowboys.
Oh, Joe, thanks for bringing it up, dude. N'Keal Harry, the star of the show, scored a touchdown this game.
He did.
Oh, he did?
He used that big body, man.
He did. Yeah, he had a big body.
Blocked out.
He's wearing number 8, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. I hate that, but whatever.
Joe. For some reason, I keep thinking he's Kyle. For some reason, I have it in my head that Kyler Gordon's 8. So whenever I see him on offense, I'm like, the fuck is Kyler Gordon running routes?
I keep thinking it's who wore 8 last year, Daryl, or was it Williams?
Oh, yeah, Williams.
I'm like, why is that guy here? Oh yeah. It's not him.
8's a bizarre number.
And Harry's a weird last name. So I'm like, who the fuck is 8? Harry 8?
Harry 8 ball.
Harry met Sally.
All right, Jay, give us the real news. I'm just joking.
Well, the Bears might have themselves a little receiver core now. The Bears were wheeling and dealing at the end of at the trade deadline. We obviously touched on Robert Quinn last week's show, and Chris, you're welcome to jump in and comment about Robert Quinn. But Roquan Smith dished out to the Baltimore Ravens for a second and a 5th round pick, and then the Bears subsequently turned around and used their own 2nd round pick to bring in Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bears will have him under contract for the next year and a half. Roughly 25 games or so for right at $2.5 million. And now the Bears wide receiver room, the core right there at the top of the sheet on paper is Darnell Mooney, N'Keal Harry, and Chase Claypool to a degree. Three actual name value guys to come in and try to make some plays for Justin Fields. Krogman, you want to lead us off on some of the offseason moves, or not off-season moves, but basically off-the-field moves.
In-season moves. Who did you say were the top 3? Oh, Harry, and
Harry, Mooney, and Claypool.
Yeah. Okay. Quinn, I thought had to happen. I mean, we talked about it in the group chat last week. To get a 5th for him, I thought was
crazy. You had phone service on Everest to talk about this.
Was solid. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, to get anything out of Quinn, I think it's always funny going on Twitter and seeing, for a while there, I was just collecting followers like they were baseball cards. So I have all fan bases on my Twitter feed. So to see the Eagles' responses, to see Bears fans' responses was just funny. Both teams basically thought that they won the trade or lost the trade drastically. There was no in between. But I thought it was a solid move by Ryan Poles. Quinn's not a part of the future. We've seen what Poles can do with fifth round picks. Even if you don't think Braxton Jones is an elite or even a left tackle starter, he's starting tackle in the league right now as a fifth rounder. There's plenty of talent coming out of the later round. So to add that for a guy that's not part of the future is a good move. Roquan, I think, came down to mutual agreement to part ways in a sense with the off season stuff, the preseason stuff, him kind of doing the whole hold in thing, and then asking for potentially more than Poles was willing to give him contract wise. This is only what we can speculate and have heard around the water cooler, but moving him for a second and a fifth, even if it is a late second, fine, whatever. And then Lucas, you said something about whatever the higher fifth round pick that the Ravens have, whether it's theirs or the Patriots. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. I thought it was the second rounder, but it's the fifth rounder. So
either way,
pick is better for the Bears.
So now they have a first, the Ravens second, a third. What, 3 fifths?
I think they have. Do they have 2 fourths or something like that?
I think they have 1 fourth and 3 fifths. They have their own. They have the Eagles, and they have the. Wait, they got a fifth for Quinn or a fourth for Quinn?
Fourth
for Quinn. So my bad. So 2 fourths, and then 2 fifths, which is ridiculous.
I think they have 8 picks.
That's ridiculous. And then
we're not used to it as Bears fans, that's for sure.
Turn around and use our own second to add 24-year-old, big-bodied, fairly fast wide receiver out of the Notre Dame is a win. Going to ball out. The only unfortunate thing is it's hard for receivers to come into an offense mid-season and click super quick. So we'll probably see Claypool win on some deep balls and maybe Getsy schemes him open a few times, but he's not going to know the offense super well right away.
Yeah, he's probably not going to get 90% of the snaps for a little bit.
Right. But that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think the the Roquan thing was just in due time. We all knew it was coming. We've kind of had the feeling since before the year started the Bears offered him what they thought was fair. He thought it was disrespectful. He went to the media. He requested a trade. And then Poles kind of went through today in his interview and just said that they came to the conclusion that they were never going to agree on a deal. So in my mind, I think Roquan is asking for probably way too much money. And it'll be interesting to see if the Ravens, a notorious frugal team, actually shell out the money for him. I mean, I imagine they would. They're not a team who just throws around draft picks lightly. So I imagine they're going to give Quinn what he wants, but that'll be interesting if it's well over $20 million a year like we think.
So it's going to be interesting because I don't know what their cap space looks like, but they got both Lamar and Roquan to deal with.
And neither of them have agents.
I don't know if you saw. I was just going to say, I don't know if you saw this, but somebody posted the Step Brothers scene where they go to the interview together and they're peeking out from behind each other. It just said Roquan and Lamar showing up to Costa's office for contract negotiation next year. I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that I did see it. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, so the Bears basically just got draft picks for a guy they were going to lose in free agency, and with the amount of money the Bears have to spend this offseason, they're not going to get any comp picks for him. So basically getting what they could. I think I'm kind of I'm pretty thrilled with the return. I didn't think they would ever get a 1, but a 2 and a 5 I'll definitely take. It's nice to see polls. It seems like a lot of the people who are quote unquote cap analysts or whatever, you can say that almost nerd community seems like they're in favor of Poles' decisions to acquire more draft capital for a guy like Roquan. So that's interesting to see those types of guys on the side of the Bears for once, which normally we're not used to seeing.
Are we talking about our friend Mr. BS Esquire?
I've seen him. I've seen other people say it too. Just good. I've seen a lot of people applaud, like a lot of national media guys applaud the Bears for stockpiling draft picks, etc. So
Because draft capital is the number one way to ensure your team is long-term success.
I think Luke, you touched on something that I was thinking about earlier, and I think it's a pretty big part of this. Like you mentioned, with the amount of money that the Bears are going to have to spend, if they didn't think they were going to come to terms with Roquan, and they're going to have to spend the money, so I guess that could have gone towards Roquan. But if he wasn't a fit, and they didn't value the position at that amount of money for what he was, what he brings to that defense, then they weren't going to get a comp pick. So getting 2 picks for him and a higher pick than the comp pick you're going to get from him anyway, which would have been at best a late third at that, I think is a big win. And to add a 5th, it's a big win for Poles and company. So, I mean, you had him for 8 games. We got 9 left or whatever. So have fun in Baltimore, sir, and maybe he can make their defense worse, and we can get a better pick.
I think he'll be fine. I think that's a good scheme that he's going to over there. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Baltimore's line is good, and I think, the big thing we've noticed with Roquan is that without Hicks and Goldman eating up double teams almost every play, I mean, that's basically what kept Roquan free and clean, and he was able to use his athleticism to do a lot. But, I mean, we can talk about so we're blue in the ears. I mean, unless you're able to kind of do it on your own, sometimes you're not going to be worth $20+ million a year. I mean, I don't care how fast you are. If, you have to overcome your circumstances if you are supposed to be that type of blue chip player. So for me, I think that's what it boils down to. And, Roquan's probably a top 7 linebacker in the league, but I think a lot of us thought he was top 3 for a while, and it's just not it.
I think he'll be great in Baltimore, and they'll love him over there. And to pair him with Patrick Queen, that inside linebacking duo is going to be solid. Would love to get on that Baltimore podcast we were on last year and see what they think.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure.
See what they think about that trade. But, yeah, I mean, Bears made some moves. They were buyers and sellers. Is that really because he's Canadian? Like,
you never heard that, dude?
No, I've never heard that.
That was his nickname in the draft when they wanted to make him the tight end. That was his nickname. Joe, I know you kind of had some mixed feelings about this Claypool trade. Why don't you dive into it a little bit for me?
Well, I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to bring a guy in like that. Obviously, he's got a little bit of an off the field, I guess, black eye because he likes social media and maybe he doesn't take the game as seriously as some fans might like.
Is that a thing? I didn't even know.
He's a TikToker, which who cares?
Probably learned it from Juju.
Right. Learned a lot of that from Juju. But I think that he's been a pretty productive wide receiver during a time in Pittsburgh where they were really undergoing a lot of change offensively. Obviously, Big Ben's arm wasn't the same as it has been. And then you got Trubisky and Trubisky and Pickett this year. Oh, can we say Trubisky on this podcast? Anyway, I said it like 4 times now. But I think he presents a very interesting prospect. He may not be as effective in the big body to go up and get it stuff as we may like. I got a couple Steelers friends who are pretty much very happy to see him go. But I also think they're happy to see him go because he knew they weren't going to resign him, and he knew that they're in a period of transition. So I'm happy with it with the move. I think you take a second round flyer when you look at the free agency class of wide receiver in the 23 class. It's not that good, and so you use a second round pick. You've got a guy under contract for really 20-25 games or so to decide if he's going to be that good, and it gives him a chance to rebuild. To cash in for a big second contract. He and Justin Fields stylistically complement each other very well as far as a guy who can naturally go down and go get it if he can really kind of find himself a little bit more solidly in that area. I think he can cash in for a lot of money, and maybe he stays for a bear long term, or maybe he's just a little short rental to keep developing Justin Fields.
Joe, let me ask you this. You like you said, you have some friends that are Steelers fans. I think we all do. My family's Steelers fans, and honestly Irish fans as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a biased look because Claypool is another Golden Domer, so you're not going to hear me shut up about that, Joe. But I think Claypool, and you touched on this a little bit with the TikTok and the social media, has been viewed as immature potentially. So I'm just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are on like the Steelers locker room, which has kind of become a little less under control than they were in the last few years. Like when
they had Antonio Brown.
Yeah, when Antonio Brown was there, you didn't hear as much kind of like you got Deontay Johnson and folks liking posts from opponents sacking their own quarterback. You got Deontay Johnson getting into it in the locker room with Trubisky, allegedly, kind of putting Pickett in the driver's seat at halftime. It just sounds like there's a lot of disarray going on in Pittsburgh. Do we feel like a coaching staff with an Eberflus type leadership and Getsy type leadership could be a good kind of reset for a guy like Chase Claypool?
Yes,
I'm gonna say yes, but to me it's gonna be less about Eberflus and Getsy and just more about the situation. So we're talking about Mike Tomlin, who basically forever has had control of that locker room. And I feel like a lot of those guys are just starting to lose it a little bit because they're going through so much transition, losing Big Ben and then bringing in Mitch and then transferring to Pickett and then having this Matt Canada guy call their offense, which just he seems like a freaking bozo. I mean,
he was handpicked by Tomlin.
Right. The whole thing is definitely weird, but I think for them in Pittsburgh, there's just so much changeover that's happened over the past 2 years. Like nothing is consistent for them. Mm-hmm. In Chicago, I mean, it's not like the Bears are a great team, but at least for Claypool, I think there's going to be a new level of focus where he's going to be the Bears' number one target. I mean, he's going to be a huge focal point of it. Like this is his fucking wide receiver room basically right now, him and Mooney. So he's going to have all the opportunity in the world to prove himself. I think he's going to be way more focused just because of that. And like you're talking about, getting that next contract and the whole 9 yards. And Fields is going to be looking for him downfield a lot. I mean, yes. Just his ability to stay involved, which I mean, yeah, you can say the coaches might draw it up for him. But to me, I just think the situation is going to be so much better for Claypool to be involved in the game where he can stay focused and go from there. So yes, I think it'll be a better place for him, but I don't know if it'll be as much about coaching as it is situation for me.
As far as the room goes, it's Darnell Mooney's room right now as far as, I guess talent wise, but after whatever game that was, Mooney was out there catching passes on the jugs machine. So on the surface, or it appears that he's a pretty hard worker, right?
Right.
So would maybe a guy like that being able to influence Claypool in a positive manner would be, another step up. And I don't know what Harry's work ethic is like, or Brand ESB, but ESB is another golden. I mean, shit, dude, were they teammates? I mean, ESB and Claypool. I think, man, we just got gold. We should just be Notre Dame.
Sam Mustipher, baby.
West. Musty got Musty. We could shit, man. Let's just go out and get Golden Tate or something. Fucking Brady Quinn.
Teo.
Let's go.
Let's bring Teo back.
Man, that was a documentary. That one was rough. But no, I think the situation. I think Joe said opportunity to earn a big second contract. Being somebody who, Deontay Johnson became the number one in Pittsburgh, and well deserved. I mean, the guy can run routes. He's a shifty, quick guy that can most of the time catch balls. But then they go out and draft Pickens, and Claypool kind of got lost in the shuffle. I mean, he had back-to-back 800 years his first two seasons. Caught over 50 passes. He scored a ton of touchdowns his rookie year. Didn't score so much last year, but he's kind of halfway there this year. The only thing that he's really down on this year is his yards per catch, down from like 8.5 to like 6.5 or something like that.
They don't have anyone who can get him the ball downfield. I mean, Pickett is just
well, they can't block. They can't block either. They have their O line's having a hard time. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. I think integrating him into the offense and getting him to sync up timing with Fields is going to be, I think, the only real learning curve issue we're going to see. But I think he's a great addition, and whatever I said in our Twitter chat that it sucks that it was the Ravens second rounder, or that it was our second rounder, not the Ravens. And that's just like, ideally, if you're going to spend a second rounder, you want it to be the later one. It is what it is. What the fuck ever, dude. It doesn't matter which second rounder it is. Well,
the first thing basically confirmed is that the Bears had to outbid the Packers, and the Steelers basically said that the Bears are going to be the worst team and have the better pick. So they chose the Bears. But the fact that Poles was able to do that and willing to go there kind of makes me feel good that he wasn't going to just let this slip by the wayside to get Justin help. And he said, okay, we got to, as Joe likes to say, we got to outbid these bastards from up north. And for once, it's the Bears giving them a jab. The Packers are struggling. They suck this year. And the Bears didn't let him add another receiver to that room for Rodgers. So awesome in that aspect as well. But, the compensation is what it is. We kind of had a feeling he was going to go for around a second, and whether it's ours or the Ravens, whatever. Sure, say we overpaid. It doesn't matter at this point. You were going to overpay if you gave Christian Kirk a fat bag of money in off season, or Zay Jones, or you're going to trade for someone. So the wide receiver market is just nuts right now. You basically traded Roquan, gained a second and a fifth, and then you traded one of them away. So you still have a second round pick. It's not like you're mortgaging your complete future like Pace would for whatever. And I just think, say what you will about Claypool, his route running, his maturity. I just think the fit with Fields is great. I don't like comparing him, but comparing him to me, like, I think Metcalf is like a very kind of similar situation in Seattle. When he came out, I mean, he wasn't really a good route runner. He was just a monstrous dude who could run a fly route and just out-athlete people. And, he had Russell Wilson, who was arguably one of the best deep ball throwers I've ever seen, turned him into the elite receiver he is. And Claypool is the same way. He's a monstrous downfield threat. and he just hasn't had anyone to throw him the ball down there. So the fit with Justin to me is perfect. I think you're probably going to get more out of him than he's ever had in Pittsburgh. And I just think this is a match made in heaven for Fields.
Confirmed that ESB and Claypool were teammates at Notre Dame, so just fits right into the locker room, just integrated automatically.
Can we talk about how much beef we have at wide receiver? I mean, like an ESB is like 6'5", 220. Harry's 6'5", 230. Now Claypool's 6'4", fucking 240.
You got to get out there and block.
You got to run them wide zones for RB1 Khalil Herbert to cut back against the grain.
Is Claypool a good blocker?
ESB blocked down on that Justin Fields touchdown run, and
dude, he's probably the best blocking wide receiver in the league. Like, I don't think there's a question. He's insane blocking.
He's a monster, man. All he's got to do is get out there and get his body in the way. He's freaking huge.
Him and Harry.
Yeah. Bears clearly have they're trying to get the old Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett crew back together.
Hey, we like that.
I did not hate it. These guys are not quite as talented, but we could find another one.
Big and physical. We love it.
Do we have a 6'5" Megatron in this draft coming out, Lucas?
Maybe, but I don't think he's I don't think there's like a top receiver that's that big.
Yeah, they're all tinies, like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's fine.
So did you guys watch? I don't know. This is kind of random. I mean, did you guys see any of Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson on Sunday? They were fucking terrible.
Wilson threw like 3 or 4 picks. Man, they were out. They started that game so well. They were up like 11-0 or 10-0, and just got absolutely trounced.
The Jags?
Yeah, no, the Jets.
I think they were both up. The Jags were up to start that game too, I thought.
Dude, yeah, man, the Jags started out 2-0 and then have lost 5 or 6 straight.
Dude, Lawrence has been terrible. He's been terrible.
I thought your boy Dougie P was gonna make him the Jesus, bro. You said visors and wins, V's and W's. It's like BW's down there, but no.
I do like Dougie P, but I don't know. For me, I think my honest opinion is that I think Fields has overtaken being the number 1 QB in that class.
Yeah, for sure.
Past Lawrence. I mean,
He's definitely the number 1 running back.
I mean, Lawrence was solid last year, but he started this year, and now he's just been bad. And Wilson, the Jets have a better chance to win with Flacco, dude. Wilson is fucking terrible.
I was watching something because, again, Joe, I have every team on my Twitter timeline. Like, Jets fans were telling me Robert Saleh or whatever is going to give Mike White some run. Like,
they need, dude, Wilson. I cannot believe some of the ball. Like,
is he another Sam Darnold? This was bad coming out. I don't understand how Zach Wilson jumped everybody in that draft.
Dude, he's like Jay Cutler. He has this incredible arm, but he has fucking a goldfish brain, dude. He said in an interview that he gets bored with throwing the ball away. That's what he said. Like, what kind of comment is that, dude? He threw 2 or 3 picks.
But it's like, you got to do it.
He's like Mahomes if Mahomes was fucking like 20 beers deep. Like, he'll escape pressure. He'll do some like Houdini shit, and then he'll be off his back foot, and then he'll like throw it downfield, and there'll be no receivers around. They'll just go into a pool of defenders. You're like, what are you doing, you moron?
That is Jay Cutler. It's 100% Jay Cutler.
It's either Jay Cutler or drunk Mahomes.
I love it. I just don't understand how he jumped.
I agree, though. He did the same shit in college. It was like, I don't know. The Bears got it right finally. I'm so confident that the Bears got it right for once. That makes me so happy.
I hate when you put like too much lock on shit. Like your stone cold lead pipe lock of the week against the Washington. Hey,
I won't hear it. We outplayed the fuck out of them.
The Washington whatchamacallits. Goodness gracious. But
We're winning this week.
if y'all want,
We're
to,
beating the Dolphins?
Ask
We're winning.
Lucas about some stuff. Ask Lucas about single game parlays, and ask Lucas about DFS because dude hit some crazy shit.
Let's go.
We're winning this
DFS,
week.
great. Tony Pollard was my star of the week in DFS this week.
I mean, you're what, 4 straight cashes, but you're
Four straight cashes.
too timid to play tournaments. You know, you win just as much money playing tournaments, but you have a chance of winning a lot more.
Yeah, but I think I get too safe with my lineups. Tournaments, you gotta pull some wild cards out for sure.
Nah. Do single entries because then people can't get too crazy. They have to stay balanced.
Oh, that's true. That's not bad. Maybe I'll give it a run this weekend.
I mean, with the amount of money you're spending, all the ones I've told you I've won have all been like $1, $2 entries. If you're gonna drop a $10 entry on a tourney, you're gonna like a $10 single entry. You're gonna win at least $50 with the lineups you've been putting up.
Yeah, I'm due for a loss soon. It's coming.
For sure. That's why I can't tell you because like sooner or later the gravy train's got to stop, right?
You would think.
Are y'all following me that we're winning this week, right?
Versus
Notre
Miami.
Dame, definitely. Notre Dame's going to beat Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, it's true. We're an hour into this. We haven't even talked about the Dolphins. Miami's good. They're not as good as like I feel like people think they are.
I think they're 100% as good as people think they are, and they just added Bradley Chubb.
I just don't know how the fucking Lions play everyone somewhat close, though. It doesn't make sense to me.
Who?
The Lions.
What about the Lions?
Didn't they play Miami pretty close last week for like?
Yeah, they
a
had
while?
them beat. They had them beat for a long time, and then Miami finally got that about a 10-point lead or so.
I mean, shit happens.
The Lions.
Do you think the Bears have a chance this week, Chris?
Yes.
No, I don't. I think the Dolphins are very good. We just gave up almost 50 to Dallas, and like Tua and Waddle and Hill are way better.
Yeah, we could definitely slow down their run game. That's where we normally get killed. Right now, the Bears are +5.
I'm fucking unreal. Where is it? Is it in Chicago?
Yes.
It's in Chicago.
We don't have to play in Miami in the middle of summer.
50-mile-an-hour wind apparently on
Douchebag.
deck.
Wait, are you serious?
Big wind on deck.
What's the over under?
Are you fucking with me, Joe?
No, I'm not fucking with you.
The over-under is 45.5, which is probably the highest over-under I've seen for a Bears in quite a while.
That's probably going way under if the mile an hour is 50 miles.
I think Joe's making shit up, man.
Hold on. The wind next Sunday in Chicago is something to keep an eye on. Wind gust up to 50 miles an hour, possibly. I'm sure this will change through the week, but may be tough passing the ball next Sunday. #Phins up from DolphinsTalk.com on Twitter.
Well, that bodes well for the Bears if they can't fucking pass. The Bears don't pass as it is.
63 degrees high.
Beautiful day.
Very windy, cloudy, and cooler with a couple of showers.
Yeah, so bear
weather.
Perfect
yeah,
weather.
Chicago, no, it's like so stadium forecast for Bears weather doesn't mention wind at all. Like all week it's supposed to be windy,
Joe's just making this shit up as he goes.
but it says mostly sunny with a high near 63.
Joe's making it up as he goes, man.
I swear to God, I'm not.
Saturday and Saturday night say breezy. That doesn't sound like hurricane
Breezy.
winds. But I don't know. Stadium, it's a forecast, dude. Weathermen are fucking high as kites. So who knows? I think the Phins are tough, though. I think
Are they going to trample us?
I don't think their defense. If the Lions are putting up points, I don't think their defense is super tough. I mean, they have Xavier Howard. They added Bradley Chubb, like I mentioned.
Yeah, but
that's
it's
gonna
not
be
like
hard.
it's not like he's going to be playing like every down this week.
Like, why not though? Like, all he has to do is rush the fucking passer. Like, what does he have to do?
I don't know. He'll probably
I
be
don't
on
think
third downs.
adapting to defensive end is that hard, like systematically.
All right. Well, He's still not like Khalil Mack or Von Miller. He's not going to fucking crush us.
Khalil Mack sucks.
And what Khalil Mack? Which version?
Chargers Khalil Mack.
He is better than that person.
Bradley Chubb's not better than Chargers Khalil Mack. Get out of here.
Probably.
Dude, he has like 7 sacks.
Who?
Bradley
Chubb?
Chubb's a figment of your imagination.
I mean, I would sign him in the offseason.
Khalil Mack.
But he's probably not able to be signed now that he's with the Phins.
Yeah, they're going to probably lock him up. Yeah, I don't know. I think they should play
I'm
him
the only
close.
one who's taking the Bears win then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Lucas has a chance to back you up.
Well, what do you think, Chris? No Bears win? Dolphins win?
No.
I'm feeling like it's going to be a close game.
You all told me last week they were, what, plus 10.5 at kickoff, and you're like, I don't see them getting blown out. I had to do a plus 24.5 live bet just to win the bet, dude. And I was concerned there. I was like, shit, they're going to lose by 25 fucking points?
Well, dude, I haven't seen the freaking defense look that bad all year. That was just crazy. That was
not good.
Roquan, dude, was non-existent last week.
Well, he could be non-existent in Baltimore then.
Who's the Bears starting linebacker now? Is it fucking Sanborn?
Yeah, probably.
Or no, we just got AJ Klein.
It's AJ Kleiner. What's that other dude's name?
I mean, we have Morrow. I'm assuming he'll get a wheel.
Well, Morrow will have most of the run, but who's that other guy? Adams?
Oh, Weatherford.
Oh, Weatherford. Yeah, he'll get snaps.
Sterling.
That'll be interesting.
Sterling's an outside line, or Sterling's a pass rusher.
Sterling, Weatherford, Jack Sanborn, Joe Thomas.
Oh, who am I thinking of? Who's the defensive end that played last week that nobody's seen before?
Dominic Robinson, Kingsley Jonathan.
Kingsley Jonathan. Yeah, Kingsley Jonathan. What a odd name.
But yeah, I don't know. See, the Dolphins, I feel like
26-24 Bears.
What are the Dolphins averaging on the ground per game? Like they're good, but
125.
So where does that put them in the league? Where does that put them in the league, Chris? Do you know?
I'm making up numbers as I go. I have no idea.
7th in the league.
Are you just fucking around, Joe? Or Joe's pulling bullshit out of his ass? Give me a second. I got you.
Yes, they probably are somewhere around there, to be honest.
I was at 117 for 7th in the league. What was it really?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, hold on.
Where's rushing offense? Here we go.
Dude, Miami's 28th in the league. They're at 88 yards per game.
Damn.
Do you know who's number 1 in the league?
The Bears at 188.
Baby.
Bears, dude. 188 a game.
That's insane. They're averaging 240 over their last 3 games.
That's nuts, dude. 205 at home, 178 away. So where's Miami? What'd you say?
28th. Yeah, so I think that alone keeps honestly, like, if you let the Bears secondary just fucking do their thing, I think they can stay in games. Yeah, this one's gonna be close. I want to say Miami wins.
Yeah, but they're 3rd in the league in passing offense at 292 a game.
I want to say the Dolphins are going to win 30-26.
Wonder what their rushing defense looks like. Opponents' rushing yards per game. Ooh, Miami's 6th in the league.
Yeah, so was Dallas, though.
Were they?
Dallas was up there. No, they weren't actually. They were mid. They were mid.
Dallas is 25th after that ass whooping they just took.
Yeah, no, it was their total defense that was up there.
But their scoring defense was better. Their scoring defense was like really good. It was like 8 touchdowns in the first 7 games.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think Miami has the horses that Dallas had. I mean, they have some good corners, but
Miami's given up 24 points a game.
yeah, they can be had.
I think 28-24 Dolphins.
Nice.
Close game.
Well, fellas, my computer battery's running out, so I got to sign off for the night. Anything else we
You got to
got?
sing this song. You got to sing this song.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check if anybody else had anything before I.
Say
Right
something
about
nice
that.
about Chase Claypool.
Hey, I'm happy. Chase Claypool, come and get it. Skyscraper, 1,000-yard receiver. Finally,
Skyscraper. All right, that's enough out of
get
you.
Darnell Mooney open.
Golden Domer.
Golden Domer.
Say something nice about Cole Kmet.
Hey, Cole Kmet, you're a beast. Chicago native. You really put your heart and soul on the line for the Bears every time you're out there.
Touchdown.
Hey, you got your first touchdown of the year. We need about 5 more, buddy. Come on. 5 more. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation. With your T formation, bear down, Chicago Bears, and let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois, Chicago Bears. Bear down. We're gonna beat the Dolphins.
Go Bears.